Hi everyone, this is Peter McPhail with Lifestyle Properties of Maine. I am in Chester, Maine today. Specifically, I am at the North Chester Orchard. The orchard here was established in 1989 by Alan and Jane LeBrun. And the book I am reading, it's called A Visit to Our Farm, and it was written by Mabel Whitney Jordan. So this is just a nice historic book on the farmhouse. And Mabel Whitney, this is the old Whitney homestead back in the 1800s. So Mabel enjoyed her life here on the farm and all the memories with her 12 siblings. So she wrote this neat book about the property. So what we are going to see today, we're going to see a working apple orchard, a Christmas tree farm, a pumpkin patch, a beautiful woodlot, a wetland area that feeds the irrigation pond, this historic farmhouse here, all the equipment that it's going to take to run the business, the apple house, and other outbuildings. So we do have a lot of ground to cover today, and down below we are going to have a timeline table of contents. So after you've seen the show today, if you want to go back and just rewatch the section on the house, you can do that. If you want to just rewatch the section on the orchard, you'll be able to quickly find that as well. If you are new to our channel, don't forget to like and subscribe and click the notification bell. So before we start out in the orchard today, I just wanted to cover something. My brother and I own land across the state that we have worked over time. And if you are a buyer and you are looking, you've got it stuck in your head that you have to have 150 or 200 acres. I would say don't make the mistake of choosing quantity over quality. The farmhouse here, we have 70 acres of land, and it is absolutely some of the best quality property from the ag land to the timberland as well. So do not make the mistake of ruling out this property if you've got a number stuck in your head of I've got to have 150 or more acres. So the soils here are excellent. We've got Suffield soils, we've got some Bangor, some Allagash, and those are all silt loam soils, just fantastic soils. And you're going to see what that does. You'll see the quality of the apple trees and the quality of the timber that's growing here. Just a beautiful, beautiful property. Hey everyone, I'm in the South Orchard right now with Alan, the owner. And Alan, thanks so much for bringing us through here today in the South Orchard. And now you're from the suburbs of Philadelphia originally.
I am indeed. I grew up in Pennsylvania, and my lovely wife Jane and I came here out of college, and I worked forestry, and we established this orchard in 1989. It was a dream of ours, and we've raised our family here and been very rewarded with being able to work the land. This is beautiful land. We grow food that provides food for people, and that's good and honorable work, and we've really gotten a lot of satisfaction out of that. But it's time for us to retire, so we are hopeful that this will be carried on as a working farm and grow food for people and enjoy the lifestyle that we have over the years. So in this orchard, this part of the orchard, we have a number of varieties. Our varieties ripen throughout the season. We typically open in the second week of September. It could be a little earlier, but that's when we open, and that allows us to have apples available for customers throughout the month that we're open. So the dozen or so varieties that we have planted ripen over that season, and that provides fruit for the pick your own customers.
Now my favorite is your Macintosh. But so it'd be Cortland and Macintosh would be your top two.
Yes, those are the top two, and they grow real well in northern New England. You need bright sun and cold nights to really develop good flavor. Starch turns to sugar, they develop flavors. And that's what our customers grew up eating. Those are the New England favorites. And northern New England grows excellent McIntosh and Cortland. So those are our two top varieties.
And I can speak from experience, and I told you this before last time I was at the farm, is earlier in the season, several weeks ago, I grabbed a McIntosh from another orchard on the other side of the state, took a bite of that, and there was no flavor to it. And then when I got here, Jane gave me one of your McIntosh. I was like, took a bite of that. I was like, that's what I'm talking about right there.
Yeah, that's what people tell us, that they didn't know they tasted that good because they're used to getting them from the grocery store.
Yep.
And that the grocery store, they do the best they can, but they're dealing with, they're in a warehouse, they're in the back of a grocery store, they're sitting on a display shelf. And here, people can pick them right off the tree, you know. We have the trees here, and so they get a good apple. They get a great apple.
Great apple.
But it's the experience. That's what we're selling to. Our orchard is, on the weekends, it's busy with families coming out. They pick apples, they pick pumpkins, they make an outing.
Yeah.
During the weekdays, we get a lot of seniors. We have people with walkers and wheelchairs, but it makes a nice outing for seniors. So you might get like a middle-aged woman with her senior father coming out and having an outing.
Yeah.
And so it's the apples, but it's the outing. And I think there's so much opportunity to develop that further as a place for people to come and have a nice outing.
Certainly is, and you have people coming from a long ways away.
Yes,
I mean,
there's nobody that's doing what we're doing within 50 miles. There's an orchard that does pick your own outside of Bangor, and nobody else does this. So there's tremendous potential here to do more or do different things. And we draw from customers from Holton, which is like 50 miles to the north.
Aroostook County.
Yeah, the Millinocket, East Millinocket, all that region, we own that. We get a lot of customers from there. Yeah. And then all the way down to the Bangor area, down east, we get people that come. They come from all over.
They do,
because there's nobody doing this.
Nobody doing that.
And they want to have a nice outing with their family, and they can do that here.
Come pick their apples, pick their pumpkin.
Get pictures taken, their senior pictures, their family pictures. They're all up on Facebook. And
my niece had her senior pictures done here.
Yeah, people come here because it's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
They have a nice outing. They get good quality apples, and it's beautiful. When Jane and I developed this for Pick Your Own, we had this gravel road that you see here built that winds through the orchard. It's probably not real efficient from the standpoint of getting in and getting out, but we said that it's so beautiful that we want to have the road be a looping road. So it gave us, from an operational standpoint, it gave us access to the orchard, but it also gave people a chance to enjoy the beauty. You come down off the hill and the apple trees are right there. You've got the river
and the
Penobscot River is right there. And then the ridge on the other side is so beautiful. And we hear that all the time, all season long. Oh, it's so beautiful here. So yeah, we live here, but we don't take that for granted, and we really appreciate the beauty of it.
Yep. Jane, thanks for coming out and joining Alan and I.
Well, it's always a joy. This part of our orchard, we did not plant apple trees from the beginning all the way down this hill because we wanted to have a sliding hill. And in the wintertime, we have friends over and our Sunday school over, and it's an awesome, awesome sliding hill. It's one of the best. We go all the way down to the front gate.
I bet you the kids don't enjoy that at all, do they?
Oh, it's great. It's great. We have a campfire, and it's just the best.
Awesome. So Alan and Jane, one of the things that I really appreciate here, all the hard work that you guys have done, and just, I've seen other businesses, for say, that they're selling and they don't maintain it. And you guys have constantly maintained this. And you're replacing 3%, roughly 3% of the trees per year in the orchard.
That's right, Peter. We're trying to keep our orchard productive and also trying to get some new varieties in the mix. So we 10, 12 years ago decided to replace a certain amount of trees each year, and it's worked out to about 3%. So right where we're standing here, of course, on the right side, we have mature trees that are productive and grow a lot of apples. But on this side, we had some trees that weren't as productive as we were happy with. So we removed them and we've replanted them. So this tree is, okay, that's where it was when it was planted. So that's one growing season, and then 2 and 3. So that's 3 years old. And we picked apples off of it. Our customers picked apples off of it this year. So that's a replacement. This is a replacement. And then if we come a little farther in this row, we can see a spot where we decided that these trees we wanted to replace. So they were removed. This has been site prepared. You can see the flags are marking where trees will be planted next spring. Those trees are ordered. The deposit is in on them. So next May, we will plant, I think we have about 40 trees coming, something like that. And we do that each year. We try to renew and have our land be as productive as it can with healthy trees. So that's
as fruitful as possible.
That's right.
And a little over 1,250 trees.
Yes, I counted them about 5 years ago, and I counted them, and that inventory is we have the inventory, and that's available.
Yep.
I think they're like 1,250 something, and then with the new trees that we plant next spring, it'll be up around 1,280 or something trees that are in the orchard.
Perfect. Now I've been dying to ask you guys, what is your favorite variety? Mine's Macintosh. Jane?
Macintosh.
Macintosh.
Macintosh
it is.
They grow
best.
so well in northern New England. They have excellent flavor, and it's no coincidence that Macintosh is the parent variety in so many varieties that are common in northern New England. They used Macintosh as one of the parents. It's very winter hardy, so it's a good apple for northern New England, and our customers like them. So it's one we have a lot of.
Absolutely. So let's head over to the ledge.
Okay.
So on our way over to the ledge, we're coming through the parking area. This is quite an extensive parking area.
Yeah, Peter. This is the focal point of our customer activity when we're in this part of the orchard. People drive to this. It's all weather, so you can come up here when it's rainy, and you have good access. This is where we can park 30 vehicles, and there'll be 30 vehicles here on a Saturday afternoon. We set up a pop-up tent and greet people, give them their bags, show them where we're picking, explain the picking, and it just gives us a lot of room to be able to greet customers and have safe parking. It's also strategic because we use the same parking area when we do cut your own Christmas trees, which are just down over the hill, so we use the same parking area. And it also is access to our pumpkin field. We have little wagons with pneumatic tires, and people can go from this parking area and get pumpkins. So it all kind of operate out of this area.
This is the epicenter right here.
This is the hub of the picking. And when people start, we give them their bags, and we show them which rows are open, because not all rows are open for picking at the same time. We open the rows that are ready to harvest
as they ripen. So like this is a row of galas, and that's a row of wealthy. So when they're ready to pick, we will have signs that say which variety they are, and we'll explain, well, you can pick on this row, and then we have some over here that are ripe, and they they start right in this location. And another thing too is we didn't feel bad about graveling this because that ledge that Jane's going to talk about tends to be right in this area.
here.
So it's shallow right here.
Perfect.
So it was a great spot to put the parking area and not cover over any of this soil that's such great soil.
Such beautiful soil here. So Jane, the first day I was out here and you were telling me about there was a college or university that came here to do a study. Can you tell me more about that?
Yes, your University of Indiana Geology Department was doing a study on the oldest rock formations in America, and this exposed ledge here is part of that. This was part of a movement of the plates on the face of the earth billions and billions of years ago. The landmass plates were in different locations on the globe, and they gradually shifted around, and North America moved and was held stopped by the Canadian shield called the Laurentian Shield. It's in by Hudson Bay, and that is the oldest rock on the planet, and that was a firm hub. This ledge here is part of that. Wow. And it's exposed now, and you can see the marks when the glacier moved forward and receded backward. You can see the scratch marks of the glacier's tracks on this rock.
Those scratch marks are oriented north-south. The way the glacier came down, it was pushing rocks, and it came from north to south, and the lines are oriented right north-south where it.
So we call this, you guys call this is it the green ledge?
Green ledge. We got green ledge all around here.
Well, let's head over towards the Christmas trees. So here in the Christmas tree farm section of the property, so we have approximately 3,300 balsam fir.
That's right, Peter. And our plan was to grow Christmas trees on a portion of our land so that it would give us a little diversification in our business and also spreads the workload out a little bit better, because the times when you have to do Christmas tree work are generally times when you're not working in the apples, and it spreads your risk out and gives you some income at a time of the year that you normally wouldn't have much income. So 12, 13 years ago, we decided to grow Christmas trees because they're beautiful, and for the reasons I just said. So we started planting like 300 to 350 per year. We had all the machinery, we had the land, and again, it's close to the parking area, so it's easy to get at. And we wanted to pick your own, cut your own, the outing aspect of what we do. So we've planted these Christmas trees, and we just made our first cut last year. So you can see they're beautiful trees. Balsam fir is just such a lovely tree, and so these are ready to cut this year. We have probably 350 a year would be sustainable. The way we do it is we give people a saw, and we charge them so much a foot, and they come out and they pick a tree, and then we measure it and sell it that way. There's all kinds of opportunity to do value-added things with that as well. You could do wreaths, you could do ornaments, you could do a lot of things that would be its source of more income. But these fir, we've selected for varieties that hold their needles well. They're Christmas tree stock. They have that nice soft foliage, they're fragrant, and balsam fir is a tree that grows really well in northern New England, so that's why we grow just balsam fir. Now we have probably 4 or 5 different strains of balsam. Like this one here is what we call a cook balsam. It's kind of bluish colored, but it's a balsam fir. They're just beautiful.
Very full trees.
Yeah,
well shaped, very full.
Shear them. Like I was saying, spreading the workload out. Jane and I plant the trees each spring. It takes like a morning. We can plant them in the morning. And the shearing is done in August. You either shear them with loppers or with a knife, and you can get pretty quick at it. But you shear them in August, and that's the time when you don't have much work in the orchard. And then the cutting of them is, we start after Thanksgiving, the Friday after Thanksgiving. So, and that's a time when you don't have orchard work. So it fits in really well with our time schedule.
So I would imagine that you've got people that were here for their apples and their pumpkin, and a few weeks later they're back for their Christmas tree.
Exactly, Peter. That's the clientele that we're marketing to. We have a beautiful product, but it's the outing.
Yeah.
They love the outing. And we have this nice little cabin up here that we use as a sales area, but it's so cute because we give them a saw and say, go out there anywhere, pick your tree. And we'll hear them down there in the Christmas trees. What about this one? And then a minute later, what about this one? And then they come back up with their tree and they're happy. They've taken pictures and it's been a nice outing for them.
Who usually wins out on the decision on which tree?
I don't know, but they're all happy when they come back.
That's all that matters.
I think they worked it out.
That's it. So we've made it to so tell me what takes place here in the Christmas trees.
Yeah, what we do here, Peter, is we're right adjoining to that parking area. So it's used for apples and pumpkins, and we use it for Christmas trees sales. And we bought this little building as a focal point for the Christmas tree sale activity. So we greet people here, explain where they can cut trees, and we give them a little handsaw, and they go out and they have fun finding their Christmas tree that they're going to cut. So this is where we run the Christmas tree business out of. We have the cashier here and that kind of thing.
And you leave the cashier not in the cold. There's a wood stove in here.
That's right. Of course, you're cutting Christmas trees in early December and it's cold. So we said, we're not going to freeze up here. And we had a wood stove put in with a proper metal asbestos chimney on a nice, safe building. So it gives you a warm place to go in between greeting customers. And it's just kind of a cozy little place. We play Christmas music, and nice. It's just a happy, fun place to be, and it's functional for greeting customers.
And we have the netter system here, right? So that the Christmas tree, they bring I see the red tarps hanging on the wall. So if they want to pull their Christmas tree up here, and then you guys take care of it.
We can net them and get them all, everything that we need to do, we can do right here. And we have all the equipment. Don't need to buy anything. It's all ready to go. It's all set to go.
It's all ready to go.
Because we're doing it. We're going to be doing it here in another few weeks. Yeah, so what we do here, Peter, is this field is 2.6 acres, and we split it in half and grow pumpkins on it one year and then a cover crop another year. So this is the cover crop year for this half of the field. And then the lower half of the field we grew pumpkins in this year. And we have some plastic wagons with big pneumatic tires. I think we have 6 of them. And those are up by the parking area. So they take those, they come down here, load them up with pumpkins, and then we sell them that way and come back. You can grow a lot of pumpkins on an acre. And on this particular acre and a quarter, we'll grow like 1,800, something like that, to 2,000. We also grow some pumpkins outside of the fence in another area and kind of spike the field. So we add more pumpkins as this starts getting picked over because this is close to the parking area, and that makes it a nice place for people to come and find a pumpkin.
And I've also noticed, Alan, that the wild turkeys seem to really like it here.
Yeah, there's a lot of wildlife around in this whole area. It's a very good area for wildlife.
And you told me something I didn't think a deer would like a pumpkin.
Yeah.
But it looks like cattle have been roaming in that lower pumpkin patch.
Yeah, the pumpkins that were too green to pick at the end of the season stayed outside and didn't get picked, and the deer really liked them.
No, pretty. Let's head over to the irrigation pond and wetlands. So Alan, we're here at the irrigation pond, and we're thinking roughly it's 40 foot by 80 foot, around 12 feet deep. And we're standing where the pump's gonna go. And looking up across the field, I can see some drainage ditches that have come in and kind of feed to the pond as well.
Yeah, what we have here, Peter, is our water source to water the orchard and the pumpkins. You could water a whole lot more, but that's just what we're doing now. And it's a great source of water. It's never failed. We have a wetland behind us that as we pump out of this pond, it bleeds in from the wetland, and it's always full. So I might pump all day long, like 12 hours at 60 gallons per minute, and you'll see the water level drop a little bit, but at night it comes right back up.
Yeah.
And we just have a simple 5.5 horse Honda pump, and that's very efficient. It'll pump 60 gallons a minute for 4 hours on 1 gallon of gas. So it's a great system. It was engineered. I didn't design it. It was professionally engineered. So the pump sits here. We have a suction line goes in there. In this little shed here, we have filters. So they're sand filters. So the water is pure when it leaves, so it doesn't plug any of the drip tape or drip tubing. And that the drip tubing is all permanently installed. We have a good main line that goes up underneath the fence line, so it's a real asset to our farm. This last summer, I was at a Pomological Society meeting. It was in July when we were in a drought, and I was talking with some of the other apple growers in the state, and the ones that didn't have irrigation, they were just beside themselves on what are they going to do. They said, they got to have rain. And I was thinking, boy, am I fortunate to have this asset here. So it's all developed. It's all set to go. Of course, the pump is picked up because in the wintertime, you bring that in the house or bring it in so it doesn't freeze.
So we've got that 2-inch line that feeds from here all the way up to the southern orchard.
It feeds the whole thing. I have soil moisture monitors in the pumpkins and in both halves of the orchard. So I'm not just guessing when I need to water. I put the meter on it and I can read what the water content into this is of the soil and know, gosh, I've reached the point where they need to be watered. So I just can come up here, fire up the pump, and walk away.
So not only is it a fantastic asset for the farm, but I'm looking at this and saying, you know, the wildlife here, you must have ducks that are coming in. If somebody had grandkids and they like to ice skate in the wintertime, bring them down, do some ice skating. If somebody ever wanted to put some fish in here.
Yep,
so.
All those things. And it's beautiful. It's a
is.
beautiful spot here. Yeah, it's otters, beaver. We've had moose out here. It's a real asset. Somebody might say, well, it's not productive land.
It is
but
productive.
It is wildlife habitat. It's just the diversity of the landscape. Yeah. It's a beautiful wetland, and
it is.
I'm very thankful that it's on this farm.
Oh, no doubt. And like you said, those farmers that don't have that. So it's a huge asset. I really love the way you've managed your woodlot. Can we run over there and take a look at that?
Let's take a look.
Down to the woodlot, and some of our viewers are always wondering, do we have rattlesnakes in Maine?
We don't have rattlesnakes in Maine, but on this woodlot we have rattlesnake plantain. Now, rattlesnake plantain is a true orchid. It's a perennial, and I spent decades walking the woods of Maine as a forester, and I've only seen it one other place in Maine, and our woodlot has a patch of it. It's a true orchid, and it's extremely beautiful, I think, the leaves, but the orchid as well. So we have an area in here that it grows in. And if you brush this aside, you will see this very beautiful, that's an evergreen leaf to it, netted, and in the summer it gets a spike about that tall of white orchid flowers, and it's very beautiful. And I don't know if it's rare, but it's very uncommon. Like I said, I've only seen it one other place besides our woodlot here. It's very beautiful. And
so 6 to 8 inch spike on it.
yeah, with orchid flowers, and it's a true orchid. And this patch is spreading, so we're always careful around it when we're running equipment in here, cutting firewood or whatever. We don't go near this. Yep. And when we're done, I'm going to cover the leaves back just like it's naturally supposed to be in the winter, and it'll probably keep spreading if you take care of it like we are. And we enjoy to come up and look at it every year. We make sure we come up and see the orchid, and we bring other people to come see it.
Nice. So we're gonna. I've been dying to see the beech trees.
Yeah, that's pretty cool too.
It is cool. So Alan, this has blown me away. And when you showed me the woodlot the other day, I was like, you've been a forester for 40 years in the state of Maine, and I've been selling real estate for 30. And to find beech trees that are disease resistant and are 60 to 75 feet tall, unheard of. It's very seldom seen.
Yeah, I'm surprised too, and it's really a beautiful thing to see, because so many of the beech trees in Maine are suffering from beech bark disease, which is a disease that will girdle the tree and kill them. But there is natural resistance in some areas, and this woodlot has a ridge of them right up through here. There's dozens of them that are like this, that are smooth bark. Now there are some individuals nearby that are full of disease, and those will be cut for firewood. But this one, and that great big one over there, and there's another great big one over there, they're smooth as a baby's bottom, and they don't have the disease. That's natural resistance. And it would make a great piece of firewood, but
it's a shame to cut it.
It's a shame to cut it because that has resistance. And just from the stewardship standpoint, this is a very important mast tree. Beech nuts are so important for deer eat them, bear eat them, partridge eat them. All the little mammals that are out here, the voles and the mice and all those little creatures, they really do well when you have mast bearing trees like oaks and beeches. And right up through here we have a whole dozens of them, and I haven't cut a single one of them.
Speaking of wildlife and management, and that is the tree that you maintained. I think we're close to that, where the hemlock that you kind of cut around it. So now that it's formed pockets of where birds can be and all the other
we
butterflies.
have one right over behind us, Peter. It's kind of
right there.
Kind of interesting. Of creatures need cavity trees, and a lot of them don't make it, especially when you log, because they get knocked over. They're dangerous. You run a skidder up by it, you bump it, and the top breaks out. If you're hand felling, OSHA requires that you cut everyone within 2 tree lengths, just from the safety standpoint. So there's a bunch of them out here. There's probably 6 or 8 of them, just like that, and that's part of our wildlife management for the woodlot, is these cavity trees.
So we're standing on some history here. You were telling me there was an old dance hall historically here.
Historically, yeah.
So
this was one of the original settlements in the community, original homesteads rather, and they had a dance hall here. They stored machinery in the bottom, and the top part had a hardwood floor, and they would dance, and they had wedding receptions up there. It had really fallen on hard times when we bought it, and it wasn't anything we could bring back, but it's kind of a memory that, this was one of the original homesteads here in the area.
And we call this the dance hall gate.
The dance hall gate, yeah.
And what I've been trying to do at my place is grow blueberries. You're doing a lot better than me. The moose have been eating mine back for me.
Yeah, we have grow nice blueberries, and the grandchildren like them, and we are able to freeze some. But we have a nice little dooryard that's we enjoy. We have blueberries, have a little coal frame. We're growing salad greens
Salad
right
greens
now.
there. Yeah.
Little rock garden that's naturalized, that has daffodils in it in the springtime and lilies in the summer. Just pretty dooryard.
So, little piece of history here, the woodshed.
The Woodshed is a classic. It used to be our farm stand when we first sold apples. We sold apples and our own bees' honey. And our oldest boy grew Indian corn, and our daughter had mums. And we sold it from this building. But the building used to be over in our driveway where the apple house now is, before we had the apple house. And our apple house is built on the exact site of the old Whitney barn, their livestock barn. And our apple house is on that very site. And that barn came down when we moved here, but we saved the lightning rod that was at the top of that barn. And that lightning rod is now on the top of the fanciest woodshed you'll ever see.
So for the hobbyist that likes to do their own wine, we have about 10 grapevines here from these. I believe, Alan, I'll have to ask Alan, but I think these come from Minnesota. So they are very hardy to cold weather. And I think Alan right now has maybe 5 gallons of wine started. So now we're going to head into the apple house, and this is the site of the old Whitney barn. Let's head in and take a look. So we come into the store area, and you can see the displays where the apples would be. And this is a 12 by 13 space here. And we've got some kind of a neat thing. We've got apple crates from all over New England, from different orchards from all over New England here. Well, let's take a step into the packing room, sorting and packing room.
This is our packing room where the apples are washed and sorted and packed in bags to sell on our stand. There's a washer. This is the washer, and this is the roller. And in a minute, I'll show you how it works. I know that's kind of loud, but it's very simple. The apples come in from the orchard. The apples come in from the orchard in bushel boxes, and we put them in the cooler, and then from the cooler we bring them here, and I can demonstrate how we run this line.
Let's turn it on.
Okay.
So you're just kind of feeding them through, pushing them through, and they're getting a washing.
I've done this a million times.
Is that all? So you're just dumping them in there, and that's doing the rest.
Right. And then Alan will turn the table when they bunch up down there.
Okay.
And then they're ready to pack. And we sort them stand here. We sort the apples. The fancy ones go in our bags. The number 2 grade, the utility grade, we used to pack in this large half bushel size to sell as lower price in the stand. And then the unfit apples go down in the box down here, and that is, people buy them for deer or livestock.
All right, now that we've seen the wash and packing station, we're going to head into the walk-in cooler. So here in the walk-in cooler, we have 725 square feet with 10-foot ceilings here. So you can see this kind of a conveyor belt here. They'll bring the apples out of the orchard and they feed them through right into here. So this keeps them in the mid-30s temperature-wise, so the longevity, you're protecting your product here. Just a super setup here for this facility. All kinds of options, which if you wanted to have a cider operation, easy to do. Let's head over to the 3-car garage, workshop, storage. I want to show you that building. So we just left the Apple House, and I want to show you, we've got 3 garage doors, but it's actually a 2-bay, and then we'll come into the heated workshop area first. So we are inside the heated bay workshop area. It's about, both bays, I believe, around 22 by 23. And as you can see, we've got this beautiful New Holland 40 horsepower tractor. That is going to stay with the farm. There's other farm equipment in here. And we do have a list of equipment that if you're interested in the farm, we certainly will share that with you. We've got a mower, zero-turn mower, and the sprayers, everything you need to run the farm here. Let's head over into the other bays. So leaving the heated area, so we have the 2-bay area here, so you could, obviously we're storing some more equipment in here, and then a vehicle and some boats. So all kinds of storage space. And then these buildings, both of the Apple House and this building here, there's carports off the back. So you certainly have, sheltered area there to store stuff as well. So we're coming up to the second story of the garage workshop area. So the full length of the building, tons of storage. This is all things they use to run the farm. So you will not, there's some more tools up here, some of the pruning for the Christmas trees you'll find here, and all kinds of storage for you. Some of the signage here that they use for the U-pick, you'll see the signage stored here. But immaculate shape. Alan and Jane keep everything in immaculate shape. Just a spectacular property. I wanted to thank Alan and Jane for taking us around the farm, and you can see how much passion and love they put into the orchard and the wood lot. So let's head inside of the antique farmhouse, and you'll see how meticulously it's been maintained as well. So as we come into the farmhouse, enter into the kitchen area, and it's got some beautiful maple flooring in here. Nice big open kitchen. We do have a heat pump in here, so you're going to get some supplemental heat and air conditioning in the summertime, although this part of Maine, air conditioning is not a big concern. We really don't get that hot. Now, in 1989, when Alan and Jane moved in, they refurbished the tin ceilings here. So they manually took a wire brush, brushed all this down, and repainted. So the tin ceilings here are original. And we're guessing that this section of the house is 1920 vintage. So before we get to the family room, I almost missed the kitchen pantry. But let's hit the family room, and I'll show you the wood stove in there. So in the family room here, this is a great place in the wintertime. You can come in and hang your mittens and anything that's covered in snow. And just a nice, this is on the north end of the house, and it's kind of separated from everything. Just a nice spot. Looks out towards the vegetable garden out this window, and then the blueberry plants out behind us. And off the family room, we do have a half bath here on the first floor for company. So before we leave the family room, this section Alan and Jane added in shortly after they moved in 1989. Let's head out to the dining room area. So from the family room, the 1989 vintage, into the kitchen area, 1920s. Now, historically, this is the Whitney Farm, 1880, I believe it was around 1886. I may be off by a little bit. Again, you've got some beautiful hardwood floors. This section of the home was pulled by a team of horses from the lower orchard up to here. So the history book that conveys with the property, you'll find that quite interesting. And in here, you'll also see some of the photographs here that will also convey. So historically, this is the Whitney home here. So off of the formal dining area, we do have an office space. So if you want to run a home office, you've got a great opportunity here. And the other thing too is this could easily be an additional bathroom if you wanted to a full bath plus the half bath on the main floor, you could easily, the plumbing I think is very nearby here to do that. So we do have a lot of 6-panel wood doors, and then as we come into the living room area, again, the hardwood floors continue. We've got a window here, beautiful window that looks out towards the Penobscot River in the front yard. And this is the North Chester Road, so you are not going to see very many cars coming by here. You might see some in the morning going to work. You might see some coming by, maybe a school bus certain times of the day, but hardly any traffic at all here. So when Alan and Jane were redoing these stair treads, they found an old newspaper article, I think it was around 1886. So history was hidden inside the house. So on the second floor, we've got some nice old, the first bedroom spruce flooring. I believe this is spruce wood flooring. And the dimensions in this first bedroom on the river side, I'm looking out at the Penobscot. This one's about 10 foot by 15 foot room here with a closet. So coming across the hall here, we have the smaller of the 3 bedrooms, and this room is 8 by 13. And we're looking out towards the blueberry bushes out there, the backyard, carpeting here in a small closet. And we're going to continue on to the full bath and the master bedroom. So as you come out of the first 2 bedrooms, and we'll come down the hallway, and then we've got off the hallway, we have the full bath that services the upstairs. Window looking out of here, we're looking out on the southern orchard. So on the north end of the house here, we've got the master bedroom, and this is 15 by 16. And so you could either have the front room as the master, which I think Alan and Jane do, but this is the larger of the upstairs bedroom. And you could easily, there's an attic space that we can walk into here, and you could easily finish that off into a walk-in closet if you wanted to. So in the master bedroom here, this little closet area, this door handle to this closet came off the old Whitney barn, so Alan and Jane were able to preserve that. So in the basement, we have the washer and dryer here. This is the newer section with poured concrete foundation. It was done in 1989. And then I had shown you guys the wine vineyard out there, and Alan does have a batch of wine going here, and also a batch of hard cider as well. So we come through, and you'll see how well maintained and preserved the old foundation. So we've got the old stone foundation. It's just in phenomenal shape. We've got a Penzotti heating system. So you have the wood stove in the family room, you have the heat pump in the kitchen, and then you've got a Penzotti oil boiler, hot water baseboard boiler. And then we have a updated electrical system here. So we've got all circuit breakers. We do have a generator that can be plugged into the front of the house, and the generator will convey. And as you can see, you've seen some of the sleds and the toboggans and the snowshoes, just things that you're going to enjoy on the farm. So a little bit about the history of Chester. Our population here is about 530 some odd people, and it was incorporated in 1834. Pretty much always been a farming community, and we're bordered by, as we've talked about previously, the Penobscot River. So about 2.5 miles from here, if you wanted to go out on a boat fishing here, the bass fishing is phenomenal. This is kind of Lincoln, greater Lincoln area. So the service town to here would be the town of Lincoln, population a little over 5,000. Got a hospital there, Walmart, grocery store, whatever you're going to need, you'll find there in Lincoln. If you need something bigger, then you could travel down to Bangor, which is less than an hour away. You'd have your international airport there. Baxter State Park is about 50 miles north of here. And then if you're going to fly into Boston, Boston is about a 4.5-hour drive. Most of that's going to be I-95. So let's recap on the house itself. We've got 1,650 plus or minus square feet, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths. And then we've got the Apple house with the refrigeration, all the equipment that you're going to need. And then the 3-car garage with a workshop there as well. The asking price is $700,000. Now get this, the taxes on this property in Chester, Maine, a little over $2,400 a year. Once you've been here a year, you'll qualify for the homestead exemption if it's your primary residence, and you'll have even lower taxes. So you can't find that anywhere else in the country. Just want to talk real quickly about some additional potential uses for anybody that wants to expand the income here. You certainly could have commercial accounts in the area. You could do Airbnb if you wanted to build some small rental cabins. You could easily Airbnb those out. It'd be a great wedding destination. Winter sports, you could have cross-country skiing, you could have snowmobiling, all those activities you could do. Hey, thanks so much for joining me today. This has been Peter McPhail with Lifestyle Properties of Maine, and look forward to seeing you guys again real soon. Any information you need on this property, give me a call, 207-794-4338.